and welcome to another lesson with Miss Wade. Today we are going to be learning about African geography. I am a 7th grade teacher at Georgetown K8, and the goal of today's lesson is to learn about the political and physical features of Africa and where to locate them. All right, we're going to move forward a little bit. Some expectations that I have for this lesson. I expect my students to complete your work independently, so you're working on your own. You're taking notes during the lesson and be ready to use what you learned. For this lesson, you will need 4 sheets of paper, a pen or a pencil, crayons if you happen to have them, or anything to color with would be great. All right, moving forward. Our standard for this lesson is locate selected features of Africa. In this case, we were looking for specific physical features such as the Congo River, the Niger River, the Nile River, Lake Victoria, the Great Rift Valley, Mount Kilimanjaro, the Atlas Mountains, the Kalahari, and the tropical rainforest. We are also looking for the countries, certain specific countries. We're looking for the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, and Sudan. All right, my goal at the end of all of this is that you will be able to at least mentally have a picture of where they are, as well as having some information about these areas. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to review vocabulary, because vocabulary is the key to us understanding things in social studies. So I would like you to take a piece of paper, and I would like you to fold it hamburger style, and then do hamburger one more time. When you open it back up, you are going to have 4 boxes. You can turn your paper this way, and please label your paper with the titles that we're going to put in the information. That's going to be Savannah, Sahel, Sahara, and the tropical rainforest. Because the first thing we're going to look at is the climate zones of Africa. All right. So if you need more time, please remember to pause before you move on. Finish creating your chart, and then let's go. All right. Climate zones. There are 4 major climate zones of Africa. The very first one is Savannah, and that's the one you're going to put in your first box. So the Savannah is the world's largest desert, 3,000 miles. It runs across the width of northern Africa and covers 1/3 of the continent. The next area that we're going to look at is the Sahel. The Sahel is a strip of dry grassland that is located south of the Sahara Desert. The reason that those two are together is, sadly, the Sahel is slowly starting to become more desert-like. That's why it says dry grassland. Right below that is actually the Savannah, which we'll get to in a moment. The tropical rainforest is the next section that we're going to look at. It is located along the central coast of Africa, near the equator, and covers 1/3 of the land surface of Africa. It's kind of like a little circle of green in Africa. Finally, it's the Savannah. It covers all the other areas of Africa. It's a hot, dry grassland located near the equator. There we go. There's that word. All right. And it is where most of the animals live. Most of those beautiful pictures of wildlife that we see in Africa, and all of the things growing, and when you think of the Lion King and all those wonderful animals, those are what you're seeing in the Savannah. All right. So our next section... Wait, I forgot. If you need more time, please pause so you can finish writing your notes. All right, moving forward. Our next section is going to be called, Where Is It? All right. To do this sheet, you're going to need your second sheet of paper. You are going to pick up your second sheet of paper, and you are going to write down the titles of these areas. It is Egypt, Sudan, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, the Nile River, Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Congo River, Niger River, Atlas Mountains, the Sahara Desert, and the Kalahari Desert. As we are going through, we're going to look at some different things, but as we're going through, the question I need you to think about is, where is it? Where is this? Is there something interesting that you are learning about these areas as we continue our journey? All right, so the first thing we are going to do is take an imaginary tour of the countries of Africa. We're going to do that with a video. Today we are going to be taking a digital tour of the countries of Africa and learning where they are located on a map.
We are going to start our tour with Egypt. It is located in northeastern Africa and is home to the Nile River and the pyramids. Now, on to our next country. The next African country is Sudan. It's located directly below Egypt and is the third largest country in Africa. Next stop on our tour is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It is located below Sudan in the center of Africa. It is home to the rainforest and also the Congo River. Kenya is located on the east coast of Africa. It is bordered by Tanzania to the south, Uganda to the west, South Sudan to the northwest, and Ethiopia to the north. Our next stop is Nigeria. Nigeria is located on the west coast of Africa. It is bordered by Benin to the west, Chad and Cameroon on the east, and by Niger in the north. Our final stop on our tour of African countries is the country of South Africa. South Africa is the southernmost country in Africa and is also home to the Kalahari Desert.
Here are the countries that we have visited on our tour today. Starting at the top of the map, we visited Egypt, Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Okay, guys, Kenya, I hope you enjoyed that virtual tour of the countries of Africa. While you were taking it, I hope you learned about where the countries are located. I hope you learned at least one interesting fact about all of those countries. All right, next we are going to look at some visuals and a visual lesson about the physical features of Africa. We just did the political. That was our tour of the countries, because when they say political features of Africa, they're actually talking about the countries of Africa. So now we're going to look at the physical features, which are things like lakes, mountains, deserts, things that are naturally occurring in the environment. Hi guys. This is Miss Wade, and today we are going to be learning about the physical features of Africa using sidewalk chalk. Normally, if I had been in my classroom, we would have done this as a tape drawing and my students would have moved around these physical features. But unfortunately, that wasn't something we could do this time, so we're going to work with what we have. Alright, so we're going to start at the top of Africa. This river right here is the Nile River. When you get to the end of the Nile River, on the map you will see this circle-like blue area. It is Lake Victoria. Right next to Lake Victoria is Lake Tanganyika. Alright, so we're going to continue with all the rivers. As you see, there is a river that comes out of the center of Africa. Looks kind of like a backwards S and a C, and it goes all the way down. This is the Congo River. Then as you come over to West Africa, you're going to see there is a river that starts right there on the coast and comes up. It kind of looks like an N, and that is fitting because it is the Niger River. When you come up to the very top coast of Africa, you are going to see these lovely green triangles, which are representing the Atlas Mountains. Okay, there are two more things that we need to talk about. The areas that we need to talk about are going to be represented by these two orange areas, okay? These landmarks are deserts. The very large one at the top of Africa is the Sahara Desert. At the bottom of Africa, it is the Kalahari Desert. All right, so if you notice, there is a lot of color on this map. There's a reason for that. The last piece that you need to know about is the climate zones. The orange, we obviously know, represents deserts. The yellow, which we see covers most of Africa, represents the savanna. The savanna is the grassland areas of Africa, and it creates lots of growth and animals. All of those pictures of lions and zebras and giraffes are all coming from those savanna-like areas. It is also where most of the food of Africa comes from. The bright green area represents the tropical rainforest. That is why it's so green. It is right in the central part of Africa, and through it flows the Congo River. This is also the location of most of the Congo area, like the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So the final section is this bright red strip. You are going to see that it is between the Sahara Desert and the savanna. That is because it is called the Sahel. The Sahel is an area that was once like the savanna, that was a healthy grass area, but is now slowly becoming desert. So it's kind of a color that has become in the middle. It is growing larger by the year, sadly, due to lack of rain and poor farming techniques. Thank you for learning about the physical features of Africa with me today. Okay, thank you for taking that little trip along the African physical features with me. Hopefully you learned where they are. Are they in North Africa? Or were they in West Africa? Were they in East Africa? Where were the rivers located? Where did they start? What they are, how to find them on a representation of the map. Those are all very important things to learn. All right, so moving forward, we're going to start thinking about independent practice. You will need at least 2 sheets of paper for this. Yes, I know, that seems like a lot. And we're going to use what we just learned in your notes. If for some reason you don't feel like you maybe got enough information, if you have the ability, pause, rewind, go back, look at the videos again if you need another showing to help you with those notes. So here is what we are going to do. You are going to imagine that your school is taking a trip to Africa. It is your job, because they chose you, to plan the itinerary for this trip. They asked you to be the trip planner. You have to get it together. You have to be ready to sell it. So the very first thing you're going to do during your independent learning is create a 3-day itinerary. An itinerary means a list of things that you're going to do. What are you going to see? What country are you going to travel to? Which physical feature might you visit? That kind of thing. You are going to pick from the countries that you have learned. You must include 9 to 10 physical features and our countries. So say you started in Egypt, you would then say, today we started our journey in Egypt and we got to visit the Nile River. On day 1, you will start your journey in Egypt and visit the Nile River. And then you can discuss what you would see at the Nile River. Those are things on your itinerary. So an itinerary is going to be like a plan. Day 1, we do this. We start here. Day 2, we are going to be here. Day 3, we are going to be here. The second thing you need to do is create a trifold brochure. Not only are you going to be the person that organizes this trip, you are also going to be the person that has to sell it to your classmates. So I would like you to organize a travel brochure and advertise your itinerary and say, don't you want to go with me? So your travel brochure should include the geographic terms. You should design it to appeal to a person. Come on, guys, we're going on a trip to Africa. Don't you want to go visit Egypt? Those are things that you're going to put into your brochure. It should be visually appealing, and you can use crayons. That's where those crayons come in, if you have them. If not, just use a pencil drawing. Either way, make your brochure. You make sure to include at least one picture in there so you can appeal to that. That's what you're going to do. You're giving the facts. You're appealing to your peers. You're saying, come on, you want to go on a trip with me. The word bank is listed at the bottom as well. And those are the word bank includes everything that you need to include in 1, your itinerary, and 2, your brochure. So If you need a moment and you want to write at least the word bank down or the directions down, please pause now. All right, guys. Well, that is our learning journey today. I hope you enjoyed walking through Africa, and I have enjoyed learning and showing you some different tour methods and exploration methods of looking at the geographic features of Africa.